usually do, just because that way I know if everything's working. So, pardon my sniffly nose. And I did check for lettuce this time. Let's see if, sorry for the strange faces. I'm a little bit sniffly. We haven't been spending as much time outside just the last week as what we would like to. So we just haven't had as much outdoor time as we'd like. So let's see if I can turn over and see what our comments are saying. Looks and sounds good. Perfect. Hey, Michael, how are you? And then the Music Well and Jennifer said hello. Little Shepherd Farm. Okay, so we are up and running. I don't know if I should start now. I'm not nearly as nervous as I was last week, even though John's still not here. He's out taking care of the baby and taking a nap at the same time. Multitasking at its best. I'm going to try and read more comments this time. So if you have a comment, make sure to leave it. And so hopefully everybody can hear me, everybody can see me. If you have a question, make sure to put it in all caps so that I can see it. And I am really excited to go ahead and get started today. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about is that since we did the barn raising video, we have had a lot of local people offer to come out and help us with our little shed renovation, and we're really excited about that. So before I started, I wanted to make sure and let you know that their links, their channels are below. And if I forgot anybody, if we've been visiting about having you come out, make sure and remind me. So far, Red Poppy Ranch and Swamp Creek Cabin and Willow Creek Homestead have all said that they would like to come and meet us and have dinner with us and help us with the project, and we're super excited to meet them. And so make sure to go check out their channels. They're actually really good channels. Red Poppy Ranch, actually today the video he put up, they were out doing some demolition and some scavenging off of an old farm, and in the end he gets picked up in a helicopter, which I don't think is normal procedure for when you're building a homestead, but apparently on their homestead it is, and that is Red Poppy Ranch. They're in Utah. And then Swamp Creek Cabin, they are doing a remodel of a tiny little backwoods cabin. He and his wife Dee Dee, they are doing a lot of work on this really old little cabin. They're doing a great job. It's fun to see their process. And so if you're into renovation and wanting to live back in the woods, they're a good channel to watch. And then there is the newest one is Willow Creek Homestead. And I saw them today and did a little bit of a binge watch on them, and they have a fantastic channel for homesteading as far as like animal husbandry and having children help with chores. I thought they did a fantastic job. Their thumbnails are really good. And then on top of that, there was a video talking about projects and how much projects and having a homestead can help with depression. And I know in my case, one of the reasons I love to garden and homestead is that it keeps me busy, and I have a lot greater sense of self-worth when I'm homesteading, because the works of my hands are before my eyes at all times. As far as like, I can see the goodness of God. I'm out among my animals. My kids have plenty of work, and so for me, homesteading is a whole package. So let's see what else. If anybody said anything, I missed it. Oh, there's Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Did somebody say something nasty and I totally missed it? Oh, did I say something stupid again? The aardvark to the rescue. Okay, thank you guys. I have no idea what was just going on, so thank you for taking care of that. So the content I wanted to talk about today is what's going on the homestead, and specifically I wanted to talk about those channels who are coming out to help us. They have great channels. We're really hoping they want to be friends and come and spend more time with us. Swamp Creek probably won't be able to do it very often because they're a long way from here. But later in the summer, we will be going up to Oregon. So if they're willing, I plan on driving up there and spending time with them on their homestead and doing some filming. So that would be really exciting. Let's see. If anybody has any questions, I will try to notice. I'm not looking off on the side as much as normal. I've noticed lately that there are a lot of new channels that are amazing permaculture, deep mulch, gardening channels. I'm having a lot of fun watching those. And if any of you notice that I'm not subscribed to you anymore, I wanted to explain that. If there isn't a lot of content put up on a channel, I have gone through and I have purged channels that don't put up very regularly. And so if there is a video that you really want me to see that's on your channel, make sure to email me. You can go, our website is now up and functional, which is super exciting. Thank you, Amanda. And thank you, Tangi, for getting that up. So it's up and functional, and you can email me there, or you can just email me straight. It's dirtpatcheaven@gmail.com. So if you do have a video that you really feel like I need to watch, and you're uploading more content and you want me to notice your channel, please make sure to email me and let me know. Let's see, what else is going on? I will go. I don't see any questions. So if you guys had questions, try to put it in very big letters, because otherwise I won't see it. I'm a little bit more mellow this week than I was last week. The reason is that the weather has been cold. There's been a few hiccups with the shed. And like we just moved all our stuff out onto our property. One of the hiccups is that there's no windows in the sleeping lofts, and we cannot sleep in a sleeping loft without windows because you need to have an egress. Let's see. Family Roots Farm said, do you prefer being on the homestead or traveling? I may never travel again, to tell you the truth. What I was talking about before with Willow Creek Homestead, where he was talking about how homesteading really helps depression. I am a person who, I don't know if there's something wrong with me or something right with me, but if I don't have some kind of outside activity most of the day, I get kind of mellow. I'm not in a real good mood. I get mopey, and then physically I start to not feel well. I'm someone who really thrives on all-day motion, small, slow activities, but doing them all day long. It's my form of exercise, but it's also my form of happiness making. So traveling was very, very difficult for me. It was one of those things where you're in a situation, you put one foot in front of the other to keep going, but it's not your bliss, and you're just doing the best that you can. My happy place involves farming. Helios, I did not unsub you. Let's see. Oh, Rebecca said, loved the Viking hair inspiration on the Grapevine video. I'm glad you liked it. Okay, I'll show you what I did today because I did it a little different. Pinterest has been my friend lately, and I'll see if I can show you. So in this one, you do two braids, one little braid here and one little braid here, and then they cross. They cross. See that? And then you braid them into your double braids. So yeah, I don't know if you could you even see that? Maybe you couldn't see it. But I love Pinterest. If you're going to grow your hair super, super long, eventually you're going to get bored of it. And so having something like Pinterest to go back to and say, oh, that's a different way that I haven't tried my braids is, so it's kind of cool. It like makes it so that you have one braid inside your other braid. So I like it. Okay, so Pilch Construction said, what are your needs for the new cabin? What are our needs? You know, mostly what I'm excited about is the process, if that makes sense. We've lived in such tiny spaces up to this point that it actually feels enormous. It's 12 by 32, and we go into it and it just feels like it's this huge overabundance of space because we had shrunk everything that we had down to like Rubbermaids, that we had clothes, we had dishes, we had food, we had what we needed for the dogs, we had school books, we had our filming stuff, but it all fit very nicely into the very back of our minivan. And so right now what we're working on is I'm getting some shelves that are movable, and I'm getting a kitchen island that's movable. so that we can move things around in the cabin and find where they set up the best before we build anything into the shed. Let's see. Were there any other questions? Aardvark? You're such a dude. Okay, so Aardvark said, how wonderful. More ways to braid hair. Well, if you got it, flaunt it. Let's see. Helios Higgins said, I can't keep up with the convos and I have zero content outside of playlists. Well, I do. If anybody here, I don't know, Helios, if you have your channel set up, but Helios had some really amazing music video. I think when Helios and I first met, he was suggesting all these songs that were in these playlists, and he has some incredible music on his playlist. Let's see. Jennifer Russell said, how do you teach yourself to braid? I can braid others, but one side braid for myself. Okay, the way you do it is you don't use a mirror. So what you do is you close your eyes and you see your hands from the back as if they were someone else's hands. I can't braid my hair in a mirror because it makes my head go backwards 3 different times to try and do it. And if I do a crown, I actually have to kneel on my bed, flip my head over, and then like do this weird crouchy, like half lotus pose in order to actually get my hair to braid into a crown. But for the most part, it just really helps to have in your brain what you're going to make and then close your eyes. Let's see. Little Shepherd Farm said, so it's already there then. Yes, we have footage from delivering the shed and we have it set up, but it turns out that with the permits, that we've had a little bit of a trouble with the permits. And we're working through them right now. The problem is we may have to move the building 20 feet in the other direction. And one thing I would say, if you're going to do tiny house living, if you're going to do anything that's unorthodox, make sure to check your permits, check your zoning. And the thing is that it's a safe structure and we object to being permitted for it. We are not happy about the fact that they want to permit us for something that is safe, and for them to tell us what we can and can't do on our property. So we're having an interesting time with the county right now, which, you know, it's okay. We'll figure it out, but it is a learning process for sure. Okay, I wish it would let me scroll up. Why do I struggle with this so much every single time? Okay, hold still. Why does it do that? I don't know if it's just my computer or if it's like all Apple computers in general that do this, because it's driving me crazy. Okay, so it won't let me scroll up to find out what your question was. I'll see if I can figure it out in a minute. Sweet Pea said, I can't wait to see it once you're done. Yes, I am so in love with this little cabin. It's such the perfect size. And I'm so excited to do projects in it. It feels very clean. It feels like it feels like home to me, especially where we set it up on the property. I'm really excited about that. Somebody else comment so I can find that stupid bar. Oh, there we go. Okay, I found, nope. Come on. There we go. Okay. All right. Rebecca said, sounds like you need 18th and 19th century style furniture. That could be the case. At this point, I'm really excited to see what, for instance, Swamp Creek, they're driving a long way to come help us, and we're going to put in a set of storage stairs. If you've seen those in tiny houses where the stairs, underneath the stairs is like little closets and doors and baskets, so that you're making the most of that space. But because the cabin is the shed is so tiny, we're thinking through everything. The biggest problem right now is fitting our stove in. Our stove is enormous, and even though it has that wonderful propane attachment on the side, it takes up a lot of space, and it's going to heat us out every single time we turn it on. And so we may just work with propane initially. Let's see. Nikki B said, do you ever plan to move back to the big house? I don't want to move back to the big house. I don't like big houses. I don't like how much time is required to spend indoors when you have a big house to keep it maintained. I like repairs to be simple, and I don't like to have water and pipes in a house. I'm very strange. I am probably the most eccentric woman that I know, which is saying a lot because I know some eccentric women, but I don't want those things. I'm really sensitive to mold. I'm sensitive to allergens, and I love fresh air, and I love real wood, and I don't like chemicals. And so I'm really looking for something specific with what we want to do with this little shed. Flying VS Farm said, what company did you use for the shell? It's Old Hickory is the one that we got. And it was really slick getting it in. It was like magic to watch him get around some of those corners because they have a little forklift that they use to get it up and over things and around things. And he did a really good job. We were thinking about Tough Sheds, but this company had the one that we wanted, and it was used. And so that's what we're doing. Okay, E.K. Hill said, will you have your animals back from your renters? Nope, they've been taking care of them for this long. I figure it's only right for them to continue to have the use of them. If I'm not around the property, they would still be taking care of the animals. And so what I will be doing is bringing in my own animals in redundancy. We have some really good animals that are for sale right now that I have spoken for that we're going to bring over. They're from the same bloodlines as mine. And they're just older, so they're more advanced milkers. John Moore said, God bless from Michigan. Thank you. Okay, so I think I can look at my list again. So if anybody has any questions, put them in while I'm still talking. All right. The other thing we could talk about is a lot of people don't like to watch ads, and yet they want to support the YouTubers. You can do that with YouTube Red. When you look it up, don't look it up with any other combination. It has to be YouTube Red. Otherwise, it'll be like Red Tube or Tube Red or something like that. So be careful how you put it in. It's YouTube Red because otherwise it's a porn site. But with that, you pay a monthly fee, and then the money goes to the creators that you watch, and you don't have to watch ads. And so it even takes advertisers totally out of the loop. I use YouTube Red because I don't feel like I want to waste my time watching ads. I don't feel like most of the ads that are on YouTube are anything that I will ever be interested in. And so I just pay the $10 a month to not have to watch ads. So if you guys know about the drama that's happening with a lot of people that use YouTube for an income, that's one way to get around it. Hey, Be Not Slothful is here. Okay, so Be Not Slothful was talked about in a video from Willow Creek Homestead today when they were talking about dealing with emotions through homesteading and through gardening. And the reason they said that was because the title Be Not Slothful, for people who suffer with emotional problems, being busy in good works and in taking care of your family is a really great way to, I think it gets you in line with the way that God originally intended for us to work and live, was that he really intended us to be stewards of the land, and he intended us to be real stewards of our families. And I think when we park our butts in front of television or in front of YouTube for too long, that we are kind of veering from our original DNA, which is that we're to be in motion, and we're to be thinkers, and we're to be doers. And so there's so Be Not Slothful. You got a huge shout out today from Willow Creek Homestead. And anyway, Be Not Slothful, they've been talking a lot about rabbits lately. They have this really cool in-ground system of raising their rabbits. They homeschool. They have this amazing marriage that just makes me have warm, fuzzy feelings when I watch their channel. And so they have an incredible channel. Make sure to go check it out. Let's see. Little Bird said, no running water in the house. How and where will you get water? So the purpose of this series, this is the purpose of the series. And I have people who think I'm crazy, and it's okay. They can think I'm crazy, but I want to show how you live safely and hygienically and easily without running water and without being on the grid and without having sewer. I want to show how to do these things and to do them safely, because there are people who need to be able to live inexpensively without all the infrastructure, or people who, for religious reasons or for personal reasons, you just don't want to be connected to that grid in any way. Take, for instance, Doug and Stacy. Off-grid with Doug and Stacy, they don't even have a well. They have a cistern because it works in their area. And so the purpose of this series is to say, look, it's no worse than camping, and yet because you're in a solid shell, you're in a little shed or in a little cabin, because you have that, you're safer, you can be more comfortable, you can control the effect the elements have on you, but you don't have to hook into the system. You don't have to be part of the system. Let's see. Marcio More said, why did you move? We didn't move. We went on a 8-month road trip, and we did it right about 4, maybe 5 months after my husband hurt his back. And so if we were ever going to make this trip, if we were ever going to go visit other YouTubers who I just really, really wanted to go meet, that was the time to do it, because we had our YouTube channel to support us. And so we went on a road trip, and we rented our house out and we were very careful about how we picked our renters, because I wanted them to take care of the farm and to be blessed by the farm. And so we chose people who wanted to be farmers. Let's see. Tawana said, hey, Mrs. Dirt and family. Thanks, Tawana. All right. Flying VS Farm, which is Rebecca, said, do you have a basin and pitcher? Does wonders for brushing teeth, washing hands, etc. if you're hauling water. The way that I do it is even smaller than that. When we were in the RV, there were a lot of times where we were boondocking, which meant that we weren't hooked up to any kind of utilities. And so we had to use onboard water, and I had to be careful with it. And we also had propane, but we didn't want to use a lot of it. And so what I would do is on the stove, I would heat up my boiling water, and I would use my bowls, I only had 2 cookie bowls, but I took my 2 bowls, and after I cooked the meal, I would then set the bowls up inside the sink and pour my cold water in and then my boiling water in order to use it for dishes. And so rather than having a pitcher system with a basin, instead for all that kind of washing, I just use my 2 mixing bowls. And so as long as it's for human use and not for like animal use, I do really try to keep it pared down. The reason is that if you ever read Boxcar Children, Benny had his pink cup. And if Benny knew that it was his pink cup, he only ever had to wash his pink cup. And that's how I feel about dishes, is that if each person has their own dish, then there's no reason to have dishes that pile up on the sink. I've been the mom with dishes piled up on the sink. This is not a judgment at other people. It's that I don't like having dishes piled up on my sink, because I get into some other project, I get distracted, and I didn't get my kitchen clean. If instead I have 1 dish, 1 fork, 1 knife, 1 spoon for each person, then it's very easy to clean up after a meal. It never gets out of hand, and it gives me accountability for whether or not I'm keeping my home clean. Let's see. EK Hill said, I have learned so much by watching all the YouTube channels. We have a big yard, but it is shaded, which that's rough. The little house that we really, really loved that was in Tulsa, that was the one downside, was that it wasn't quite big enough to have a garden, and what space there was too shaded to have a garden. And so I know sometimes you can cut trees down, but then it's really sad because you love the trees that keep your house shaded. It's kind of hard to find that happy spot. EK Hill said, we can't have chickens where we live, maybe rabbits. Yes, we kept chickens in our backyard when we were in town, and we kept meat rabbits. Rabbits are definitely quieter, and you get the amazing manure from them. I know that for us, it was really exciting when our city changed the ordinances, and now you can have 6 chickens in your backyard in town, which I think is fantastic. And I think that things don't start to change until enough people start to bug the city council about it, and they're starting to have enough, outlaw chickens in the backyard that they say, well, I guess it's okay if this happens, we'll change the law. So you might want to go to your city council and say, this is a really popular thing. Can we change this? If it's because of an HOA, that's different, because they can say no chickens. Susan Witt said, love your channel. Thank you, Susan. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to my list. Nobody else has asked me a question, so I will go to the next one. One of the things I'm excited to do is that even when we were in our big house, I'm I am so eccentric. I can admit that I'm very eccentric. But when the fridge wasn't really working right, we just stopped using the fridge. We stopped shopping for things that needed to be put into a fridge, and instead we just made our garden really big with greens and other things that I could just pick fresh. And the fridge was actually freezing things, and the freezer was actually thawing. And Aardvark was the one who pointed out, it only takes this tiny little part. You just have to do this tiny little part to fix your fridge. But I was just like, no, it's a challenge. Let's see if I can live without a fridge. And I don't know, that's just my mentality of, well, if something isn't perfect, it's okay. I can work around it. And I don't know if maybe that's a flaw in my character, but to me, I'm always just like, what if I did it this way? What if I did it that way? What if I don't do it the conventional way and I just kind of do this other thing? It's just who I am, I guess. But what we did while our fridge was broken was that we had this old milk delivery box, a milk box, a tin milk box that was insulated on the inside. And so we put that on the north side of our house, and it gets quite chilly at night, even in the summer. And so things that were not going to be making us sick, things that just needed to get cooled really well at night, and we were going to eat them early the next day, we put them outside in this milk box. And it worked really, really well. And so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put a storage cabinet on the north side of the little cabin, of the little shed, and put edible things in it. And the one thing we won't have is a deep freeze, because that does take electricity. And so what we'll have to do at that point is just butcher our animals as we're ready to eat them, rather than having them in mass in a freezer, which isn't a big deal. It's just really not a big deal. The only reason it would be a big deal is if it was the heat of summer and you had butchered something like a pig. That would not be the correct time to be butchering pigs. You want to butcher pigs in the fall so that they stay cold while you're working with them, and then you can get them smoked, rather if you don't want to refrigerate them. So it's about management, and it's about coordinated record keeping when it comes to not having a refrigerator. And I know I'm going to get made fun of this later, because there's some people that support my channel who think I'm a nutcase, because I like to experiment. And I know the side at which you should stop experimenting, and that's when it is going to affect the health and safety of your family. But up until that point, experimentation can be so much fun. Okay, Puddle Spark said, will the roots of nut trees harm surrounding fruit trees and vegetables? Yes, they do create juglone, I think is what it's called. And so underneath nut trees is not a great place to be putting other. You can, however, if you look up Gaia's Garden, it's an amazing book. Toby Hemingway is who wrote it. And he explains how certain guilds can live under fruit trees, and that they seem to kind of neutralize each other, so that you can grow things under nut trees. And it's one of my very, very favorite gardening books, is Gaia's Garden. All right. Tender Meadows said, Randall Breeden asked, if you were to select a different area of the country to buy a homestead, where would it be? Having traveled the country for 8 months, what pros and cons did you find? Well, here's the downside of that. The downside of that is that we didn't get anywhere in the middle of the country or in the east of the country. We were in the south. We went all the way along the bottom of the south. And I loved Oklahoma. I thought Missouri was amazing. We love the people in Mississippi, and I don't really want to live in Mississippi because I don't understand the soil. It's very sandy there, and when we passed from Mississippi up into Georgia, the transition in the soil made me feel much more at home, and the fact that the nights were a little bit cool made it easier for me to breathe. And so if I was to have a homestead somewhere that isn't here, I really liked Oklahoma. I really liked Missouri. Other places, the weather felt a little bit too foreign, and the soil just threw me for a loop. So Mandy said she would jump to YouTube Red, but it's not available in Canada. That's too bad, because I just hate that anybody has to watch those stupid commercials. I hate the commercials. They're so retarded. It's such a waste of your life to watch them. All right, Aardvark. See, this is who I'm talking about. Okay, Adventurous Aardvark thinks I'm a nutcase. And yet he's been watching my channel for years. I don't know. What is the real definition of insanity? Is it watching somebody who you think is crazy and continuing to be their friend and supporting their channel? Or is it the person who's actually making the channel? Which one is more crazy? So Aardvark said there's a reason why after 10,000 years without utilities, we drug ourselves out of the swamp. I know, but I don't live in a swamp. Maybe if I lived in a swamp, I'd feel differently about electricity. Here, Chicky said, visit Oklahoma in the summer. The scorpions and snakes will change your mind. Well, and that might be the case. We were there in the fall and then in the early spring, very early spring. Yeah, we were there in March. Let's see. If you like Missouri, you'd also like northwestern Arkansas. Also, do not rule out western North Carolina. Beautiful, good, mild climate. Well, and I've heard that, and that's why I feel like I can't definitively say where I would go if I could pick a place, because we missed this enormous chunk of the U.S. and all of it was considered farmland. We drove through Arkansas and it was gorgeous, but like I'm not sure we even took a potty break while we were driving through. We were driving so fast at that point. Tawana said we are all crazy, and I think that's very true. We're all crazy in our own way. All right. Suburban Hillbilly said you will die in Georgia without air conditioning. Yes. And see, I'm not an air conditioning kind of a girl. I'm afraid I'm a little bit of a nutty environmentalist. I'll just say it. I don't believe in environmentalism that takes people's rights away. So I am a libertarian environmentalist. And what that means is that I believe that by taking control of your own property because you choose to, and making the most of processing your own garbage, making wise choices about what you purchase so that you're not creating garbage, is the real way to honor the gift that is the land that we have. And I don't believe the government should have the right to come in and tell you what to do on your property. I do believe it's about, if you're not hurting anybody, you should be allowed to do what you want to do. But I do believe that we are suffering from the way that we manage our stewardship. And so when I was in school, my major was environmental science, and yet I didn't believe that the EPA could solve it. I really believe that growing your own food and taking accountability for the waste that you create and being innovative is the way to really reach our potential and what we're meant to be. We're meant to use our minds. It's not that technology is bad. It's that we need to be mindful of the way that we use our technology, so that I think a lot of technology actually takes away our ability to improve ourselves because it dulls us down a little bit. It makes us stupid. But that's just my soapbox. So Tender Meadow said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again, but expecting a different outcome. You're not insane. That's right. I don't do it again and again. I always try a different method, and then sometimes it changes. In the Making Homestead said, I'm going to be selfish and stay. You need to stay here. Well, I do love it here. There's something about your home ground that is your home ground. It's where you feel like you understand the elements, you have family, and it feels like home. I do feel that way about my homestead, and at the same time, I know that it's too big for my capacity. I can grow a lot of food in a much smaller space than what I have out on our property. The reason it's nice to have the extra space we have is just to graze the goats, and that's really the only reason we need it, because all my gardens are very, very small and yet very, very abundant, and rabbits and chickens and ducks don't take very much space. And so the less time I actually have to spend managing a larger farm, the more intensively I can grow and the better food I can grow because I'm not tired. Let's see, Jan Parton said, I had an old Victorian house in Black Mountain, North Carolina, no AC required. Well, and that's what we found when we were in the South, was that you saw the old homes with the big porches and the screened-in porches, and they are underneath these huge oak trees, and the temperature under those oak trees is significantly lower, Even when we were in Oklahoma, we had these enormous trees that were over the top of that tiny little house we were in. And with the windows open and those trees over the house, it was nice. Granted, it was just March, so we haven't really been there in the summer. We haven't really even hardly been there in the spring. But I'm curious to see if it's doable in the summer without AC. John is not interested in finding out if it's possible. And our host that was there thinks that I'm a nutcase. Affectionately, I believe, thinks that I'm a nutcase for even wanting to try that. Let's see. Rebecca said, we don't have AC in our house here in Nevada. It's easy to live without if you know how, which is how I feel about it. I don't like AC. I'll roll my windows down any day rather than having filtered air. But it's just, that's just who I am. I am not torturing that child, I will have you know. John might be torturing that child. Let's see. Be Not Slothful said, I heard from the Texas boys that Texas is an awesome place to homestead, great gun laws and homeschool laws. Yes. We went through Texas. I think we were there by our second month out. And we actually thought about buying property in Texas in a little town called Spur because it's tiny house friendly. This is what boggles my mind. This is what absolutely boggles my mind is why would you have to get different zoning to have a tiny house? It's just a smaller space. And I really do believe that if it's not negligence, if you're not damaging your neighbors, you should be able to do what you want to do. And so the idea that the town had to put in different zoning so that you could have tiny houses, even in Texas, you know, there are these zoning laws that just make me crazy. Let's see, I'm losing things. If I don't get to your question, make sure to say it again. Hey, Jerry. Jerry Marvis said, Julie, you may be a nutcase, but you're our nutcase and we love you. Thank you. Some people just tolerate me. Okay, Frederick Nolan said, use these 2 rules for determining if you're crazy. First, if they think you are, and second, if you think they are. Takes one to know one. I like mine a bit touched in the head anyway. Good point. Okay, Jan Partain said, it is the elevation in the mountains of western North Carolina that makes a difference. It is usually 5 degrees cooler at home than 30 minutes away in Asheville. Totally doable in summer. That's awesome. Okay, Randall Breeden said, it's not the heat, it's the heat and the humidity that makes it hard to live with. Yes, we did notice in Mississippi that the humidity, in fact, location, speaking of which, in Mississippi, where we were, we actually had higher humidity than we did when we were in Florida. But where we were in Florida, they had this lovely breeze off the coast that even cooled it further from other spaces. And I think the humidity was lower because of that. And so here, I mean, we're in Idaho, but in Idaho, you can have all kinds of different temperatures and planting zones and moisture in the soil. We're high cold desert, and yet if you go to northern Idaho, you have beautiful agricultural land that gets rain regularly, just like Washington. And so it really depends on where you start. Pardon me. Aardvark. Aardvark says, I'm just trying to save you from yourself. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who I am and why, oh my goodness, why we torture children, who don't know why I'm crazy and why I so desperately want to spend all my time outside, is that when I was a child, I had every allergy to everything there was in the world, and they couldn't figure out why. I had mercury toxicity from my mother's root canals and fillings. And then I also had my shots as a child and more mercury in my system. And so I had terrifying food allergies and environmental allergies. And when I turned 10, they got worse. I was exposed to chemicals in an irrigation canal. And from that point until I was in my 20s, I was allergic to dirt and water. It didn't matter what the dirt was. It didn't matter what the water was. I would go into anaphylactic shock in contact with swimming pool water or creeks or any kind of soil, dirt, fragrances made me really sick. To all intents and purposes, I was a hermit. I couldn't even go outside. But I was so sensitive to over-the-counter drugs that I couldn't take things like Benadryl and that kind of thing. And so I was a shut-in. I was homeschooled. I did go to public school for a few years, and it was difficult because I would get sick so easily. And so finally, my mom just put me in homeschool, period. My siblings were homeschooled. And I was a shut-in. I struggled to be around friends because they might be wearing perfume that I couldn't handle. And the activities that they wanted to do, I couldn't do them. I would get so sick, and I would be sick for days afterwards. I would break out in these enormous welts all over my body. My tongue would swell. And so I had a very hard time being away from my mother. I had a very hard time being away from my mother's food because she knew what I could and couldn't eat. But then when I was 15, I started to get treatment from a holistic naturopathic type doctor, and he healed me. When I was somewhere between 15 and 17, a lot of those things changed. And I didn't get all the way better till I was in my mid-20s, because then I figured out that I couldn't eat grains, and that one of the underlying reasons I was having these anaphylactic attacks was if I had wheat in my system, my body would react to everything else as if it was the enemy, because my body was not digesting wheat, and it would get into my bloodstream. And so I spent the first 25 years of my life as a shut-in, and I can't stand to be indoors now. If I'm indoors a lot. Anybody that we stayed with knows that I'm indoors a lot because I have to edit, but it's not my happy place. My happy place is with my animals, and my happy place is outside, breathing fresh air, touching dirt, touching water. And so even my parents make fun of me a lot in this. They make fun of the fact that I want to live this way. And I think that sometimes they forget how hard it was to be that teenager who had to, if you carry an EpiPen with you everywhere, and don't know if this time you'll get it in time. So yeah, my parents make fun of me too, but it's not something I can change. If I want to be happy, I have to be outdoors. So not crazy. It's more like self-preservation, in the fact that I feel like I wasted so much of the first 25 years of my life, that I wasted so much of that time, that now I can't stand to waste another second, which is why I resonate so much with Be Not Slothful, is that I can't stand to waste another second of my life. And so for me, I guess it's just a mindset. So that's why I'm crazy. Epic Cowlick said, another reason for tiny house owning, you may not agree with this, but the homes are cheaper and attract lower income earners. Think trailer parks and the origin of the term trailer trash. It's true. A lot of times the cities and the counties are trying to protect themselves and protect the landowners that are already there from having less desirables come in. But the thing is that you should be able to choose whether or not you want to be a less desirable. Let's see, do I have anything else? We have some building materials coming up with let's see, I've got to remember. It was Willow Creek. Willow Creek is bringing up some stuff from having worked with Red Poppy. Two good channels. And so we'll have a boneyard again, which will be good, because when we were getting things ready for the renters, I got rid of all that stuff. Silk Purse Homestead said, I don't think it's crazy that you want to be outside a lot. I never had any health issues as a child, but I spent a lot of time outside as well. And even my dad, who is 80, is like that. I think it's just a good thing. Let's see, what was the other thing? So the lofts in the shed are pretty short, and also the shed itself is only 12 by 32. And so I'm kind of looking forward to doing some sewing projects, maybe to sew some futons and curtains and that kind of thing. So along with showing the way we want to set the shed up, I also want to be showing how to decorate it inexpensively. Adventurous Aardvark said, to Green Hill Acres, John is a benevolent dictator. Yes, everyone else appreciates your sense of humor, Aardvark. Epic Cowlick said, Hillary already classified me in the bucket of undesirables. Happy to have that title. Well, and to me, I love to use garbage. Honestly, I love to round things up that nobody else wants and then turn them into something valuable. You know, if it's good stuff, I'll sell it on Craigslist if I don't need it. But a lot of permaculture and a lot of like lasagna bed gardening type things, you're actually using your garbage to make a garden bed and to create food. And so I say, why not? Let's see. In the Making Homestead said, I forgot to email you back, but we're happy to help with whatever project you're doing at the moment. Just put us to work. That is wonderful. Make sure this time to email me. It's dirtpatcheaven@gmail.com. I will do my best to remember, but we are leaving here as soon as the live show is over, and I might not remember to write it down. And we would love your work, your help, and we would love to meet you. Okay, Randall Breen said, I don't know, but did you purchase a shed for a new small house? If you did, what are you doing for septic and sewage? Are you doing a compost toilet? And if so, does it require any electricity? So in Idaho, you cannot build an outhouse without them checking that there is no standing water in the bottom of a 6-foot hole. So they do an inspection to make sure so you're not polluting the groundwater. And if you want to do a composting toilet, in my research, it looks like it has to be self-contained and it has to be one of the incinerating type of compost toilets. I don't know but what Paul Wheaton's would actually count that way, because the way that he does it, it is self-contained. And but that's definitely not an open compost pit type of a composting situation. And so right now what we're doing, because we don't have windows in the sleeping loft, it's not safe to sleep in the sleeping loft till you have windows. You need an egress. What we're doing is we have my father-in-law's RV on the property so that we have a toilet. Everything else I can just use in the shed and show how to do a gray water system and that kind of thing. But for the toilet, I'm going to think long and hard about it before I set things up, because I do think that it's really important not to be messing with hygiene systems, that you really do want to do it right the first time. Mrs. Soap Peddler's Homestead said, are you doing a tiny house on a permanent foundation? I'm a garbage person too. No, we're just doing it up on gravel. It changes the way that the permitting works. And we're in an arid area and we don't have termites. And so we'll show you. It should be within the next couple days that I can get the video up. Because we had some snafus with the permitting, I am a little bit behind on getting the videos up because we made the video 2 days ago. Okay, Rebecca said, what kind of things are you looking for from friends? What do you mean, Rebecca? What kinds of things are you looking for from friends? Like things to send me, or like what characteristics do I look for in a friend? Friendliness. I look for that. Oh, okay. Okay, so Rebecca said such as towels, etc. I want whatever your skill is. Like for instance, Tiffany, who we stayed with in, oh, Tiffany, where are you? Were you in Georgia? I'm trying to remember. Tiffany made me soap. She made me soap in, I wonder if I have it in here. She made me soap out of forms that are Alice in Wonderland, and I've saved them all the way to get to where I am so that I can put them up as decoration in my house. So what I'm looking for is whatever your passion is. If you make something by hand, there are things I want to show off because you made them. Other than that, I mean, I have a sewing machine at my mom's, and I also have my treadle sewing machine that we'll be bringing up. I can make anything to put up, but I want something that inspires you that you want to send to me, if that makes sense. Okay, blame Poodle Waddle. Almost missed the show. Was out fighting a wild, this early in the year, that's incredible. A wildfire fire. That brings up a question. What sort of heating will you use? If a fireplace, what sort of chimney? So, Poodle Waddle. I was planning on putting in our wood stove, but it's so big, it's going to make it so we can't put stairs in. They have some other stoves that are like boat stoves, meant to be used on a boat. We don't want to spend money on that kind of thing. So at the moment, we're just using indoor safe propane and white gas heaters. And so it's the other thing that I'm kind of trying really hard to think through really long and hard before we commit to it. It's warm enough now because it's spring that we just need this little bit of extra heat off of these standalone units. And then we're going to try and kind of muddle through things because a wood burning stove takes up space, and my enormous one that heated my whole 2,300 square foot house is going to kill us with like heat stroke if we do that. Hey, Scratchmaid made it. How you doing? Okay, what else did I see? Dolphin Man asked, how's homeschooling coming? It's going well. In these kind of, I think in any situation, homeschooling is essential, and so are chores, because it keeps kids out of trouble. It helps them learn to be useful. It helps them learn to be respectful. And so even when we're traveling, we work really hard at always having school. I don't think your brain really needs a break from working. From having something resourceful and wonderful to look up. The girls are really, really, really excited about helping with decorating the lofts. Paige and Kai have all sorts of plans already about how they're going to be sewing for it. And so that's really exciting. Mrs. Soap Peddler's Homestead said, I will make you soap, but it is soap to use. I love that too. I love soap. And I love having homemade soap. Adventurous Aardvark said, I have no skills. Do you need people to just sit around? Whatever, you're the best, what do they call it? Armchair quarterback of my life. What are you saying you have no skills? You make me really mad really easy. That's your skill. Randall Breeden said, do you sell your wool goods like the sweaters I've seen on your videos? If so, where do I find them? I'm not selling them right now. I do have projects that I'm working on that I'm making for my Patreon patrons. Amy's sweater is coming along really nicely. I will be getting the spinning wheel back out once we have things organized in the little house a little better. But it's very, very time consuming to make knitted goods, and a lot of people don't understand that when I have my hats that I love to make, that I have at the very least 40 hours in them, because I hand dye them, I card them, I spin them, I knit them. And so for one of those sweaters, you're looking at a minimum of 150 hours. Some of them take me 350 hours to make. And even if I'm only charging $5 an hour, that comes to something very expensive. And so I have a hard time putting it up because I see that it offends people. And yeah, I know that there are people out there that would like me to make them stuff. And I don't want to sound apologetic when I tell them how much it costs, but I have exchanged things, though. I feel really a lot better about doing an exchange if I make someone something. For instance, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, Stacy sent me a whole bunch of alpaca that I could use in my projects. In exchange, I spun and knit her a scarf that I spent a lot of time on, but she spent a lot of time growing that alpaca. And so I love that exchange, so instead of the money exchange. Could we do a rocket mass heater downsized? I don't think so. We are so, I love the size of the shed because it's really quite a bit wider than most tiny houses. It's 12 feet wide, so you don't feel claustrophobic in it, but I think if we added in a rocket mass heater, we would feel very claustrophobic, and I do think it would heat us out of the house. Pioneer John Melandrin said compost heat. In our area, compost heat does work in our greenhouse, but it is not high enough with the temperatures that it drops to be consistent heat for us without a huge amount of work. I have done compost heap before, but with my other chores and taking care of homeschooling, it's hard to have enough time in a day to go out and manage a compost pile so that it stays hot. And I have to watch my time wisely. Okay, let's see if I can go back up. I felt like I missed something. Marcio Morea said, did you ever consider moving to Florida? I never considered moving to Florida because I do enjoy cold weather. It was fun to visit. We visited with Just So Trish, and we love her and her family. And it was fun to visit, but I don't want to live there. It just like she wouldn't want to live in Idaho. It's just not what you're used to. Little Bird said, love a treadle. Do you have an old Singer one or one of the newer genomes? Or is it Hanomes? I never know how to spell it. Genome? I would like to have a new genome because it has a reverse and it has a, what is it called? A zigzag. I have lusted over the genomes because you can just put it into your cabinet that is for your regular treadle sewing machine. But I already have a treadle sewing machine, and so I'm using it. It's an old Singer, and it was my grandmother's, and she got it because it was the same model as her mother's. And so I do use, and I have it serviced regularly. Let's see. Joanne Pugh said, I'm a spinner, yarn dyer, and knitter too. I totally understand. Yeah, the hours you put into are hours of love, and I would rather exchange than have somebody pay for it. Unless what they're actually doing is they're trying to support our channel monetarily, which we have had friends do that, where maybe they didn't need a sweater. There's a lot of people out there that didn't need a sweater, but they bought a sweater and paid a lot of money for it because I wouldn't let them just send me money. And I love you guys for that. Oh, hey, how are you? Okay, sub driver. You are doing the right thing for your family. And by the way, thank you for the books, plural. You're doing the right thing by your family and going about it the right way. Life is an experiment in motion. You adapt as you go. Hang in there. Thank you. Oh, Helios, you said something and I missed it. Hold on. Go up. It won't let me go up. Let me go up. No, up. Stupid thing. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay, that's where you said hi. It's fun to have oldies but goodies come in. People that I know that have been on my channel for a really long time and haven't seen you for a long time. It's fun to see you guys. Helio said, how about a hand knit RV or woolen tiny house? That would be awesome. Are you meaning like a replica or like a full size? That's the question. Sub driver said, I wish I was there to help. Well, you know, I wish everybody was here to help. It would just be fun to see everybody. But one of the reasons we want to do the little house is so people can come visit us. It may be something where we just live in it for the summer and return it after that. At this point, we're waiting to see how the videos go with it. And at this point, we're renting it because we want to experiment, but we don't want to have it be a financial burden for our family when John and I go back to school. And so if it turns out to be something that people really like to see and we can pay it off, then we'll do that. But if we can't, then we'll be returning it at the end of the summer after all the fun summer living. So Adventurous Aardvark said, where are Doug and Stacy, those slackers? I know, right? They usually pop up like all over the place, but something about these off-grid crazy people, not always in front of their computers. Okay, Helio Tickens said felted canvas. Yes, you could do that, and it is what a yurt is in actuality. It is wool that has been felted. And I thought about using that actually as one of the treatments on the inside of the little house. But you have to have an enormous amount of wool. And I know there's people out there that are on my channel that have wool, but I'm not very good about getting the word out to say, hey, do you have wool you're not using? I'd love to use it to felt it. But it would take probably a couple hundred fleeces to make the amount of fleece that I need. It looks like a lot of fleece, but in felting and in spinning, a little bit doesn't go very far. It has to be a lot. But yes, I think it would be one of the things I would like to experiment with, because then it would be a temporary way to finish the inside, is to have these sheets of felt that we could dye beautifully and put up on the inside of the walls to make it pretty, and it would be temporary, and we could take it down if we decide that we're sending it back and not renting it anymore and not purchasing it. Al Falsink said, "What's up, Homestead homies?" LOL, aardvark. So yes, we are missing the Homestead homies of ours. Okay, Walba Thread Killer said, "Handwork takes time. Spin, weave, knit, crochet, tat. Can't do right arm in a sling." Yeah, it's one of those things where when we did the Kickstarter 2 years ago, I did sweaters and socks and hats and gloves for it, and it really messed my hands up for a while because I was doing it about 18 hours a day to get it done on time. And you do have to be careful. It's why a housewife that is a farm wife, it's really good, because then you can go from task to task to task instead of doing one thing all the time. You get to skip around, and it's easier on your body than just doing the same thing every day. Little Shepherd Farm said, "I'm back. The little woman came home after getting her eyes examined." Oh, I hope that she's doing okay. Susan's here. Hey, Susan. Ah, there we go. Off Grid with Doug and Stacey. We needed that. Off Grid with Doug and Stacey. Okay, so everybody should go check out Doug and Stacey's video. Was it today that you had the big oopsie with the dumping of the mulch? They are doing the, what's it called? Back to Eden gardening with the deep mulch, and they just had a big dump truck dumped off today, and they were talking about how they got it, because sometimes the tree companies don't bring it when you want. They're just hitting it off the charts with their videos lately, their how-to videos. So make sure to go check out Doug and Stacey, Off Grid with Doug and Stacey. Okay, finally, Doug and Stacey. Yep, the party is not complete without the homies. Okay. Okay, Dolphin Man said, "I really miss the cold, high snow from the north. I'm in the northern mountains of Georgia." And I love winter. I love winter. I love winter when you have a wood-burning stove to sit around, and when you have a few chores to do outside. And I love it as a break from gardening. There, you know, homesteading is seasonal. And even in Mississippi, when we were with Deep South Homestead, it's seasonal. For them, their off season is in the summer because it's too hot to go out and work, and it kills everything that's growing anyway. And so their bigger uptime is winter because it's cool enough for them to do a lot of things. Okay, so Off Grid with Doug and Stacey said, "We have been here just in the shadows trying new cell service." Oh, that's not fun. All right, Little Bird said, "I have to dash. Enjoyed the live time. Do you do this on a regular basis?" Yes, we're doing it on Thursdays at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. We're wondering if we want to switch it to a later time on a different day. Reason being that I know that a lot of people aren't able to get here at that time because it's not on a weekend, and it's kind of in the middle of the day for a lot of people. So we're thinking about changing that time. Let's see. Little Shepherd Farm said, "I love that bug-eyed look you make." Me? Do I look like a bug? Okay, you'll have to take a picture of my eyeballs when I do it. Go back on the live show when it's over and take a picture and show me the look that makes me look like a bug. And Aardvark, don't get in on it, because you already told me I look like my eyes are always way too far open. Huh. Things I learn about myself on a live show. Little Shepherd Farm said, "I get a look like that every time I smash my fingers in the door." Probably with some choice words attached, I'm sure. Okay, Be Not Slothful said, "Hey, Doug and Stacey, I loved your video 2 weeks ago, relaxing music and animals, and seeing Tangy the Caver's Wife of that intro." Oh, I didn't see that one. I'll have to go check. Cool. Watch that Off Grid with Doug and Stacey. I'm not sure that's how you want to spell that. Okay, Susan Sullivan said, "Hey Doug, all y'all need to join the 2 Family Homestyle Dinner Club." So they did approach me about that, and I told them that we would love to do it as soon as we have some kind of kitchen. Without some kind of kitchen, it would just be a nasty mess and not make a very good video, because we've been living with family. You've been hearing them this whole time in the other room. And I do like my videos to be somewhat picturesque, but when you got 6 kids running around and 4 parents and craziness, so we told them we want a rain check on that. And also on the 30 random things, maybe next week we'll do the 30 random things as our live show, just so that we have because it's really hard for John and I to sit down in the same place and get the video put up. All right, Joanne Pugh said you could use a smaller quantity of fleeces to make blankets so for warmth in the tiny house. My Amish friends love that I spin and always talk about how his mom felts fleece blankets. Yes, we could do that for sure. And I might use them to make the futons. I might do that. I do have a source for some wool, but it has moths in it because it's been stored out in a shed. And because I do hand spun goods, I'm worried about introducing moths at this point because they will just eat through things eventually. Let's see. Mrs. Soap Peddler's Homestead said you could needle felt the bigger pieces and stitch together. We could. And this is why I'm excited about the little house, the little shed, is because I am at my happiest when I have 14,000 projects going. And it means that the girls can sit at a table and do school, and I can just meddle to my heart's desire on all sorts of little projects. And because we have so few belongings right now, it shouldn't be cluttered. So I'm pretty excited about that. Becky Napier said, check out Tiny House Preppers Little Wood Stove. Adorable. I will do that. Tiny House Preppers. I think I've seen their channel before, but I don't necessarily follow them. You know how you kind of go through waves of when you watch different people pertaining to what you're needing to study at the time. Right now, I'm watching the woodworking samurai, or the samurai woodworker. I'm watching him a lot. I'm watching April Wilkerson a lot because we have some projects coming up and I'm trying to orient my brain about what tools we need and what options are and how to use those tools. We will probably be running an extension cord from the rental to the little cabin while we're using power tools. That is one concession, but I don't intend beyond that to have electricity in the little house. Let's see. Okay, Hillbilly Homestead made it. Hey there. Let's see. I need to go down. Okay, let's see. I think you're cuter than a speckled pup. I'll take that. Thank you. All right. Okay, I think I went too far because I think I missed. Let's see if it'll let me scroll up. Sometimes this thing is so cranky. You think with technology it would make things easier, but it doesn't. Go up, 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 up. It won't let me. Well, it's still a little scroll bar. Okay. I had to go quite a far up. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Shed to House Facebook site. Ideas, loads of ideas for heating. So that was from Homestead Wannabe. I'll look that up. Okay, Joanne Pugh said, send me your email address. Okay, so they're already doing that. I'm having a hard time keeping up with comments. Poor Doug and Stacy. Big fingers, little phone, little buttons. Okay, let's see if I can get it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a hard time scrolling right here. It's sometimes these apples are just. Okay, up we go. I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to go try to go down, and it's going to skip all. Okay, so if you had a question there and you saw I didn't answer it, please redo it and put it in all caps so I can see it because it's not letting me scroll. All right. Samurai Carpenter. Yes. Samurai Carpenter is amazing, and I'm not actually thinking that I can like aspire to be like him, but it's fascinating to me to see what he's doing and what's possible with making ornamental wood everything. Okay, Ari North said, hello, my first time participating in the chat. I found Dirtpatcheaven about a month ago and I'm hooked. Great videos. Oh, thank you, Ari. Okay, I'm caught up. Let's see, how much time do we have? Oh my goodness, we've gone over an hour. Yes, everybody, please make sure to put it in all caps. Also, we still are looking for help with the projects we're going to be doing with the little shed. If you'd like to help us, we would love to have help if you're nearby. We are in Southeast Idaho. And so I would love to help people grow their channels by doing collaborations with us. And we can drive to your farm too in order to show what you're doing. And we're excited about that. All right, Family Roots Farm said, are you going to have an outside kitchen for canning? I probably won't at this point, because at this point we're just finishing the inside of it, and we're trying just to figure out the Tetris game of where spaces fit and how to make things safe and how to make things fun. And we will be living in the RV and using the little house as something of a playhouse because of permitting. But we want to show how it's done. And I have to say that because I don't want to get in trouble. That was a good one, Helios. How you like them apples? Yep. I like my apple, but sometimes its idiosyncrasies just drive me crazy. Dolphin said, I'm so glad you came on live stream today. Me too. I think I'm getting better at it. I think I'm better at it now that I'm home than I was before. And it's also nice because I have this colorful wall behind me. A lot of times we had a brown wall or a white wall in other places, and it definitely, my pale skin does not show up well against a white background because it is whiter than the white background. Let's see, what else? Frederick Nolan said, who is a Homestead homie from Homestead, Florida? I'm not sure. Is anybody here a Homestead homie from Florida? Hillbilly Homestead said, rules and regulations hinder us homesteaders all too often. It is true. And I understand there's the concern for the public safety and that you don't want people to be putting trash in the canal or tainting the water system. And at the same time, I do feel like when you're overly regulated, it cuts back on creativity and invention and personal happiness pursuit. That's just how I feel about it. So everybody says my picture is coming fine. Okay, In the Making Homestead said, I'm glad I was able to catch this one while you're live. I've been having to watch them afterwards, and it's not as fun. No, it's not as fun. It's fun when everybody gets on and chats back and forth, I think. Okay, Vicky Sandefo said, new to live chat, is there a video to follow along? What does that mean? Is there a video to follow along? After I do this video goes up and it becomes just a video instead of a live video anymore. Is that the question? Can anybody help Vicky with that? Because I'm not sure how to answer that question. Aardvark said, Aardvark out, have to work in the garden before it gets dark. All right, go do your flame torching weeding. Good thing you don't have any big rocks to worry about. No disgruntledness there. Thanks for coming in, Aardvark. Have fun. Family Rose Farm said, will you be making storage room for bulk food storage? We will. It's one of our biggest priorities, and we're actually kind of thinking about walling off a significant amount of space for dry goods. Okay, so Be Not Slothful just went out. Thanks for stopping. Oh my. Green Hill Acre said, Julie, you're the Jay Leno of YouTube. Is my nose that big? Or is it my chin? Is it his chin or his nose that's really big? Is my chin that big? I hope that's a good thing. Or am I inadvertently saying stupid things that make people laugh? Okay, Homestead Wannabe said, I came in late. Big Family Homestead needs thoughts and prayers. If you hadn't already spoken of it, thank you. Okay, so Big Family Homestead has been under attack. They have been reported for having animals on their property. That even though they got their loan through the USDA program for rural development, and they were told that they were okay to have animals, they've now found that planning and zoning is telling them that they can't have animals. And so they are looking for a new homestead where they have more personal freedom and space. So yes, prayers for Big Family Homestead, for them to find a property and to sell their property quickly so that they can get back into the swing of things. So make sure to go check out their channel. Okay, am I missing anything? All right. Dolphin Man said, will you have the time to stock up for this winter? We won't be here this winter. We will be in Oklahoma this next winter. John is going back to school. He's going to a technical college, and it's the responsible thing to have backup and contingencies. And so if YouTube went away, we really need to have another source of income. So He's going back to school. We're going back to Oklahoma in the end of July. So we don't have very much time to get this secondary homestead built up and the little cabin finished or sent back, whichever one we decide to do. So we will be stocking up once we get back to Oklahoma for sure, but not necessarily out of fear for winter, I don't think, because it doesn't get nearly as cold there as it does here. Hillbilly Homestead said, how many are using the Garden of Eden style? We're going into our second year of it. I don't garden in my Back to Eden garden, but I do use it around all my fruit trees. We have a problem with bindweed, and I can manage that and the slugs if I have ducks. But for right now, our renter doesn't want to have ducks, and so there's not going to be a garden back there because the slugs do come out in mass if you don't have ducks. Susan Sullivan said, you're doing good, Julie. Thank you, Susan. Eleanor Swan said, hello from Grenada, Caribbean. Awesome. I bet it's beautiful this time of year. Thumbs up, please. Please thumbs up my video. It will get out to more people if you do. Oh, okay, Green Hill Acre said, I meant you're really good at this. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Edmund Coates said, what is he going to school for? He is going into computer sciences. And we're excited. We're excited to be there. We really, really enjoyed Oklahoma, enjoyed our time there, and so we're excited to go back. Okay, so little Shepherd Farm's going to go take a picture real quick and then be back. All right. Okay, Christian Mathis said, I just did. Thanks for the reminder. This was fun. Okay, I must have missed something. Mr. Phoenix made it. Hello. Dolphin Man said, good for John and your family. Anything we can do help him when he is in school. You know, I don't know. I'm excited for him. He is a very much a people person. He likes to go out and be around people and be out in the community. He is not a homebody. He likes to come home and cuddle on the couch and that kind of thing. But being home a lot is not really his thing. And so I think it'll be a happy thing for him to be in school and to be out around people more and not have me holding back so much where I'm like, I can't leave. I got spinach in the ground. Okay, so Frederick said, I was from Homestead. Oh, Homestead. Is that like a city? Homestead, Florida. That's interesting. I didn't know. I should know that because I think I actually drove through it. But okay, Little Shepherd Farm said, my wife is interested in your makeup, Julie. Okay, so I also forgot about this. I have bad news for you guys, and I have bad news for you guys. I will not be doing butchering videos on my channel anymore, and we're going to set up a Kickstarter so that I can do some professional videos of butchering and other things that are no longer permissible on YouTube if you want to be monetized. Tangi's putting together the Kickstarter. We're really excited about it, and we need topics. If you have particular topics that you want to see in very good detail with professional quality film, you need to let me know in the comments below. This is where to tell me, or you can email me topics you really want me to cover for the Kickstarter, because I just need to. And so what that has to do with makeup is that I'm going to bring in things that are a little more advertiser friendly. The makeup that I use is the All Natural Face, is where I get my powders. All one word, the All Natural Face. And that's my powders. And Rebecca from Flying VS Farm is the one who told me about that. And then for my cream and liquid makeup, I use Progress in Health. Progress in Health. They're also on Etsy. And in Etsy, it's Urzuli Cosmetics. But those are the two that I use. And for my mascara, my favorite one is Red Apple Lipstick Mascara. However, I'm not using it right now because it's too dang expensive. It's $30 a tube. And so I will be doing more makeup videos, which for you guys will not be the least bit exciting. And I apologize from the bottom of my heart, but I have to support my family. And this makeup that I use, I do actually love the companies that make it. They're small family-run companies, and so I will be doing those. They won't be sponsored or anything, but I will be talking about it more. Pigs and cows. Okay, Family Roots Farm. What about pigs and cows? Yes, thank you, Susan. The All Natural Face. Hey, Tiffany made it. Okay, so Tiffany was the one I wanted to talk about. So you guys asked what you can send me. Now, Tiffany gave me soap in these beautiful little Alice in Wonderland forms, and I have brought them all the way with me and protected them from anyone using them because I'm going to use them as decoration in my tiny house. And so those kinds of gifts. So that's my Tiffany right here, Tiffany. Okay, Mr. Spinnick said, I don't blame you. All the rules keep changing. I've heard of so many YouTubers losing their AdSense accounts or something. Well, and Subdriver said, I thought you were just naturally hubba hubba. I didn't know you use boy repellent every day. I do. The camera is not friendly if you don't. I didn't used to wear it all the time, but I do now, unfortunately. Okay, let's see. Hillbilly Homestead said, I will send your makeup videos to my daughters to watch. That's awesome. If I ever get around to it. I keep putting it off. It's not my favorite type of video to make. Let's see. And Tiffany, everybody wants to know where you are in Georgia. All right. What else? Somebody else asked a question. I don't remember what it was. Does everybody feel like I've answered all the questions? I will look and see. I've been talking long enough that I'm getting a little hoarse. Let's see. Anything else I missed? I think I got everything, which is a miracle. Subdriver said, did you ever look through those 2 cookbooks I sent you? Yes, I did. And I believe they're now packed in my father-in-law's wheat silo. We went out, I went out with like 8 crates of books in the RV. And then when we came back, I cut it down to 4 crates. And then from there, I cut it down to now 1 box that has just a few of my books. And the rest of it is just the girls' school books. And it's a small box. So all my books are packed up in a wheat silo. Okay, Dolphin Man said, or Homesteading Pioneer said, I have never worn makeup. That's awesome. You must have beautiful skin. Dolphin Man said, I wonder, can you do makeup that us men would buy girlfriends or wives use your channel to buy for others? I'm sure you could. The makeup that I use is organic, all natural, all organic, and it's made in small batches. And so they don't have affiliate codes or anything. I just happened on them because people had suggested it. They're not big companies, so I can always like put a link below on saying this is where I got it. But as far as like, if that's what you're asking, they don't have anything like that. It's just that I love them, so I talk about them, if that makes sense. Yes, Susan Sullivan said, post questions in caps, please. Yes, it's hard for me to read them because they move by rather quickly if they're not in all caps. Tiffany said, when you order from the All Natural Face, get the sample packs. I send a lot. They are. Oh my gosh. The sample packs lasted me for the first year that I used them. There was so much in them and so much variety that I didn't have to actually purchase a container for a year. It was huge. Tender Meadow said, Melaleuca makes beauty products too for a decent price. If you can't afford the mascara from your other company, you might check them out. Now, I do love Melaleuca. My hometown is actually where Melaleuca is made, and that's Melaleuca. It's like a multi-level marketing type of a company. They do have good products. I'm not sure they're as well educated about their preservatives and some of their they're a good company. I don't know if they're as pure as the brands that I use, because I used to work for them, and they may have changed their formulas since then. It's been quite a few years. But at the time that I worked for them, their makeup brands, they were definitely better than conventional drugstore makeup, but they still left something to be desired, a little bit to be desired. All right. Jerry said, Julie, you know you can make this chat window full screen. Can you? How do you do that? How do you do that, Jerry? Where do I go? Is that the pop-out chat? Is that the pop-out chat option? Oh, no, I can't. Okay. Okay, Subdriver said, I would think that organic makeup would make your allergies go nuts. It does, actually. I still don't like to wear makeup. I do better with some than with others. I don't like to put stuff on my face, to tell you the truth. I really don't like to do that. But I what's the word? I respond to it a lot less than I do over the counter type makeup. And again, I look different when I don't have my makeup on, and especially the camera picks that up. So if I'm making my living doing this, you know, you have to crack a few eggs. And I guess my sinuses might be what I'm cracking. Okay, so let's see if I can scroll up now. Okay, guys, I missed another one. Somebody said something to me, and now I can't scroll up. I love my computer. It's such a blessing in my life. Please let me scroll. Why don't you let me scroll? There it is. Oh, no. Then it went away. Where is it? Okay, guys, I'm really not trying to be stupid. Even John has problems with this one sometimes, because unless someone else puts a new comment up, the scroll bar doesn't show up on this side of the screen, and it's just as aggravating as all get out. So I have to sit here and wait for somebody else to say something, because then the scroll bar will show up. Okay, hold on. No, it moved. No. All right, Family Roots Farm said, how did you learn to do your makeup? Trial and error. I noticed what looked good on me, and then I duplicated it. And when I was trying really hard, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was trying really hard to get dressed up and look professional every day. I did a lot of research on, like, if you're really pale, if you have allergies, what kind of makeup can you use? And so I did a lot of research. I treated it like a research project about gardening, to tell you the truth. All right, Carol Sadler said, will this be available to watch? I just got here and missed everything. Yes, it comes up as a watchable show after the live one is finished. All right, there's the one I missed. Mrs. Soap Peddler's Homestead, did you leave? Oh, dang it. I lost it again. Did you leave your beautiful wood burning stove at your house? We did not. We took it to my father-in-law's because we didn't want the renters burning our house down. Okay. All right, Jerry, there are 3 dots at the top right of the box. Okay, I saw that. Yes, the pop-out chat. Then make it full screen. Oh my gosh, my life would be so much easier if I just had understanding of how all this technology works. Oh my gosh, that's so much better. Okay, now I can see. All right, Dolphinman's taken off. Thank you for stopping in. Okay, Hillbilly Homestead says they're going to take off because they have to go get firewood. Thank you for sticking around as long as you did. Ari Norris said, can you recommend any Canadian homesteading podcasts? I'm trying to think. Canadian. Not off the top of my head. There is no. Hold on a second. There is what is it? The Market Gardener. I know he has videos out, even if he doesn't have podcasts out. The Market Gardener is amazing, and so is Urban Farmer Curtis Stone. So Curtis Stone, he might have podcasts. I think he if I remember correctly, he's starting to do some different things like that. Urban Farmer Curtis Stone. Tiffany said, please tell the John and the girls hello from us. I will. And in fact, I have a video coming up with you guys here pretty quick. I haven't put it up yet because I can't figure out what the timing is right to backtrack that far. All right. Okay, yes. So I answered that one from Soap Peddler about the stove. Yeah, now I can see. It's amazing. Becky0512 just made it. Hi there. Mia Mafia said, try using keyboard shortcuts like page down or page up. The problem is because it's a window inside a window, for some reason on the Apple, it doesn't communicate right. It'll take me up and down the page instead of up and down like the little inset screen. When I don't have it popped out like this, but now I have it popped out. It's like magic. Jerry said, LOL, darn, I thought you knew about this. I should have told you this last year to save you the chat stress. Yeah, I have huge chat stress because I can't read everything that people are saying. Eleanor Swan said, I really love and appreciate this community. Me too. It's one of the reasons we went on the road trip, was because it got to the point where I couldn't stand not to have people in actual physical arm's reach. So I 100% agree with that. That's right. Our half homestead is from Canada. I don't know if she does podcasts. She does do butchering and she does canning and cooking videos. So if you want to see somebody in Canada, does she do podcasts? But yeah, Bev from our half acre homestead is in Canada. Very true. All right. So does everybody feel like their questions were answered? We have gone almost half an hour over, and I don't want people to feel like they have to stay on if they need to go do stuff. So anybody else have any questions before I sign off? I feel like I should give my brother-in-law back his bedroom sometime. Okay. Thank you. So Susan and Helios, thank you for moderating tonight. You are, what's the word? Saviors. Why is my brain going blank suddenly? You are something along the lines of saving the day, but I can't think of the term. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close off for anybody that is here now that feels like they didn't get to watch the beginning. As soon as I am not live anymore and I close the video down, it should take about half an hour for it to pop back up, so feel welcome to go look at it. If you have anything you do, any kind of video, we're thinking that each video will be about an hour long. When we do our Kickstarter, it will be 1 hour of extensive goat, 1 hour of extensive ducks, 1 hour of extensive butchering, those kinds of things. If there's something in particular you want us to add, make sure to let us know. Homesteading the Pioneer Way said, waiting on those tiny house videos. We'll get there. Because today we transitioned out to the property, the reason we're still here is that I haven't had a chance to test the Wi-Fi at the library to find out if it's strong enough to do a live stream. And we'd have to find a private room to be able to use, so we're not disturbing people. And so we're just, the trick with this kind of project, to my mind and my experience, is to take baby steps and just worry about what's directly in front of you instead of thinking too far in advance. And so, oh, he is having a hard time. Not my child. He's just having a hard time. He's 2. Green Hill Acre said, how long will you stay in Oklahoma? We will be there on and off for 2 years. Well, it's a 2-year program. I believe we'll be coming back to the homestead during the summer months and visiting with family and that kind of thing. Those are our plans, but I don't know if that's actually what will come about, but those are our tentative plans, is to come back here in the summers. Eleanor Swan says, I'm about to get my first goat ever. That is so exciting. I got my first goat when I was 9, and my life has never been the same. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close down. I appreciate you guys. Make sure to leave lots of comments below so that we can read them on this one, what your requests are, what your thoughts are about different things. And we will talk to you next week. It will be on Thursday at 4 o'clock Mountain Time again. If you think a better time, make sure to let me know. And if I can figure out how to turn it off. It's not always as straightforward as you would think.